Alright, it's Squatter's Ramblings again. This time, it's Skies of Arcadia. Skies of Arcadia on the Dreamcast. Wow. This game took me a long time to complete. First video published January 2nd, 2019. The last one was just actually very, very late night, early this morning of the 26th to the 27th of September. Wow. Long time. Well, I suppose I finally got to the end of it. That's the best I can hope for, you know. If it's not the end, then it's just nothing, you know. Just don't make no sense. Alright, so this game, now first off, I gotta come clean here. I gotta talk about the visual quality of some of the uploads of this playthrough. From videos 1 through 8, I believe, uh, if I'm not mistaken, I'll just check it here. Yes. Okay, so I don't know, but for whatever reason, the quality of my direct transfers from game console to computer have been steadily lowering in their quality, you know? And it was noticeable in video 1, and it just steadily got worse and worse and worse until I decided at the end of video 8 that I needed to make a change. And it's partially one of the reasons that it took me so long to beat this game, because originally I was routing everything that I played in one out of 2 banks of video game consoles that I have. I have several shelves in one place and several shelves in another place, both hooked up to their own TV, and at that point, videos 1 to 8 to their own VCR. And now I'll be honest, I got to change this. I'm not sure if I can do it across the board as one single edit, but all of my video descriptions say that I've recorded this on VHS. Now, I believe I haven't recorded anything on VHS since my playthrough of Secret of Monkey Island on Sega CD. And that's another thing I got to talk about. It's in tandem with the quality of this upload, and it's very surprising. I've gone back to my older gameplay videos, things like Ys Book 1 and 2, Ys 3, and everything. I'm flabbergasted and confounded when I look at their quality. Everything is low quality, everything is blurry, everything is fuzzy and unsharp. And I can only go into 240p quality. Like, to me, that's very strange. I don't remember uploading them in such terrible quality, and I mean, even if I have them in the default YouTube player, I mean, it's still terrible, outright terrible. And I mean, like, I can go to what was it? Ys 5, Sand City of Kefin, which I recorded on VHS. I can tell because when I start every video, there's the erase head distortion that kind of climbs down the screen. People familiar with VHS would know what I'm talking about. It's a colorful little rainbow-colored bar that kind of streaks across the screen, going from the top to the bottom. And but no, the videos that I used to upload, they're in terrible quality, and I don't remember them ever being like that. And like I go into the settings and I can only choose from 144p or 240p, and I think, you know, like, I know I never uploaded them in any high definition, but I mean, they didn't look like that. Like, they didn't look like that, you know? I don't know. It's a mystery to me, as because they didn't look like that before. I have no idea what happened with them, and I apologize to the 0 people that watched them because of that. But yeah, so to whoever watches these things, oh look, I've got a like on one of my videos, Skies of Arcadia video 9. Somebody liked this probably because I fixed the video quality. So on to Skies of Arcadia. Episodes 1 through 8 were routed through a Philips VCR DVD combo, and I was doing a direct, d- um, a stream, I'll call it. I was streaming the console straight to the capture card on my computer, and that's what sort of made things easy in the earlier months when I was playing this game. Uh, this game it's a very big RPG, 2 gigadiscs in length, and you can see from my earlier videos that I'm not used to playing games of this magnitude. So it is a much larger game than what I'm used to, so that's probably why it took so long. But again, there are several week spans, maybe over a month in between videos. Not too proud of that, you know. I kind of just put it in the back of my head, kind of just ignored it for too long. So, but these last few days I've actually taken off of work for a vacation. Just felt like I needed a little while to just kind of, you know, fuck around and everything. But so yeah. Uh, Explosion of content uploaded compared to what I'm normally uploading. So, but yeah, I get sidetracked easily. Uh, then again, you know that about me if you watch these videos, which you don't. Okay, so yeah, video 9 rolls around. When is this? May 10th, 2019. So, uh, earlier in the year, I decided to replace that Philips DVD VCR combo with a Magnavox DVD recorder. The Philips Philips VCR DVD. It was just a combo. I could record VHS, but not DVDs. So I decided to remove the VCR portion of it because I thought at the time that that was the problem, which was why it was in such low quality from videos 1 to 8. It's like a constant haze throughout the entire stream, and it's very noticeable when you're in dark areas, like in your base where your ship is, or in dungeons. So I looked at that and I thought, that's no good, man. That is no good. I have a little bit of self-respect, so I decided to try and fix that as best as I could. So, yeah, I bought a Magnavox DVD recorder, and I hooked it up, and while the direct stream, is still very low quality, I think it's maybe because of the cables that I use to hook it up. Right now, to hook it up to the capture card, I am using perhaps a 35-year-old speaker cord. It's just black and red, not even white and red. It's black and red, showing you how old it is. And I'm using that for the video cable. And for the audio, I am using an RCA to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and I have it hooked up 2 RCA ports on my capture card, utilizing a female 3.5 millimeter coupling to male RCA coupling. So that's probably the case as to why it's so terrible in quality. But then again, it's a jungle back there. I have so many video game consoles. It's going to be a pain in the ass to try and fix that. So I just decided to do what I could. I wanted to remove it from the whole equation. So I decided, yeah, to get the DVD recorder. So, and that's how I've been recording all of these videos from video 9 on out. And if the console that I decide to play my next game on is hooked up to that DVD recorder, it's going to be in the same format. Now, again, I'll have to say from videos 9 up until 20, so 9 to 19, those were on the DVD video recorder, Magnavox, but after I had recorded it to the DVD, again, I'm unfamiliar with this sort of thing. I'm old school, so I have the video recorder with a DVD rewritable disc. So I thought that if I finalized the disc, I wouldn't be able to re-record over it because the manual for the Magnavox DVD recorder is somewhat misleading and very convoluted. So what I was doing was I would record the gameplay footage on one DVD recorder, and then I would play back the DVD recording onto a different Toshiba DVD recorder that is hooked up directly to the to the video capture card. Yes, I have a lot of things hooked directly up to the capture card. And that's how I've been doing it, which is why videos like this are varying from maybe 48 minutes upwards of 2 hours, right? But they're all single videos, video 9, video 10, video 11, video 12 onwards. So what happened with number 20 all the way up until 28, you'll see that it's all 20-1, 20-2, that sort of thing. 21-1, 21-2, yeah. So the thing with that is, and again, this is why it also took me longer to beat the game, I thought that I was back stuck in the rut of the VCR. I would have to record my gameplay footage, and so if I played for 2 hours, I need to record it for 2 hours, and then I need to play it back for 2 hours to get it into an uploadable state. So that's one of the reasons that kind of turned me off from playing it, because I knew that every single playthrough would be over an hour, at least a couple hours, because you can't save it everywhere, right? You have to find save points, so you can't just mess around for half an hour, 45 minutes, because if you get into a dungeon or a ship battle, you're fucked there. I mean, in ship battles, you can't even pause, right? So, yeah, so the reason why it's all cut into quarters or thirds or halves or whatever with these most recent videos is I decided to try finalizing the disc for the first time, and I was able to take the disc finalized, put it in my computer, and simply copy the video files off of the disc as the files themselves, which saved me an enormous amount of time. It was very liberating, I would say. I said the same thing with my USB 3.0 upgrade. Very liberating. What used to take several hours of copying over now takes, only a few minutes. So finalized discs, I'm able to copy over the video files in 20 minutes, when what usually would take me 2.5 hours to play back. So that's partially the reason why I have such an explosion of content in the frame of almost more than 30 videos or something, I'm guessing. Yeah. Let me, guess I can count right here. I'm an obsession with this. 20, 53. Okay, so 33. Yep. But yeah, no. So that's certainly a positive boon there. So very useful. I'm glad that happened. So yeah, and the thing is, the reason why it's 20-1, 20-2, 20-3, 20-4 is because if for the 20th video that I wanted to upload, sorry, if I played, say, 2 hours, then it would chop the video into really weird segments. Like, some of them would be, let's have a look-see right here. Some of them would be 38 minutes. They're usually about 38 minutes, 39 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. And then other times at the end with video 28, I wasn't sure how long the battles at the end would take, so I recorded that in long play mode on the DVD, so 3-hour mode. So there's 4 videos there, and they're each about 46 minutes long, except for the last one, which is maybe 29 minutes. Yes, 29 minutes, 44 seconds. And I don't know why it's like that, honestly. I've tried checking the settings on the DVD recorder. As far as I can tell, I've only got the settings to put chapters every 10 minutes. I don't know why it separates videos into about 1 gigabyte portions. Each file is it says 0.99 gigabytes, so I don't know if that's a limitation of the hardware at the time, because it is an older DVD recorder. Most DVD recorders for TVs are, anyways. But that's how it is, I'd much rather have it as 4 separate files than one big chunk, because it essentially halves the time that I need to upload content. So that's what I'm going to be doing from now on, if the console that I decide to play next, whatever game it would be, is connected to said Magnavox DVD recorder. Alrighty, so that's the explanation behind that. So, well, went off the rails there, but now I guess it's finally time to talk about the game itself. So, first off, the only reason why I started playing this game is because years and years and years ago, I had actually bought a physical copy of the game, authentic. It's not emulated, it's not burned or anything. And there's a story because of that. I don't know why. I have two different Dreamcasts. One of them has a GDEMU in it, and whether I use burn discs or rips or actual GDIs, which is a one-to-one copy of the original disc. It's nothing removed, nothing downsampled, nothing modified in any way. No matter what I use, I cannot seem to get the opening cutscene to play properly. When it's kind of panning across all the characters in some grandiose fashion in the opening cutscene, it displays them all in their grandeur, and when Cupel, this little blobby, silvery thing with beady little eyes and a giant mouth, Fina's little friend, as I'll get to, this little creature, silvery blob, kind of whips himself onto screen and puts his face right in the camera and kind of winks at you now. With burn discs, rips, and GDIs, I have never been able to get that cutscene to play properly, the opening cutscene. It always freezes at that moment, and everything else, the audio still plays and everything, but nothing. It just it visually freezes at the point when Cupel winks at you. So, and of course, I obsess over things. So I said, you know what, I have to make the effort to buy this game and see if it's actually a problem with every single copy ever released, or if it's just a problem with rips, burns, or GDIs. So I go and buy the game authentically off of eBay. This is several years ago. Haven't played it for several years until I started in January, and finally it seems to work. The cutscene plays properly, so I get that out of it. So that's my reward center for that. So I decided, you know what, I invested the money in it and a lot of effort compared to every other Dreamcast game that I have. So I said, let's play it. So, and that's the reason why I have this channel, honestly. I play the games for this channel, not for money, of course not. Hell, my most viewed videos only have a few dozen views, and the most viewed videos I have are usually copyright claims, so I can't monetize them. Right? How's that for you? Yeah. I work at an 8 to 4:30 job, Monday to Friday, as I said, just taking a little bit of time off from it for these next week or so. And I mainly play the games for this channel to encourage me and to make me finish them, honestly, because, and I know I've said this a million times before, and I'll just touch on it as much as I can. I know I'll go off on a tangent, but there was a time several years ago before I started playing on YouTube, this was maybe 2015 or something, and I would just play the same three games over and over and over again. The two Knights of the Old Republic for Star Wars and Fable: The Lost Chapters. So, and I'd dick around with those games. I'd play them for a little while, and then I'd get bored with them, erase the game, and then I'd start again. And I said, you know what? There's got to be something that encourages me to actually finish these games. So that's why I started this channel. It's more for me and less for anybody else. I mean, if I know I cheat a lot, right? Which is, again, you know, I don't do this for money. I don't have a lot of time in my day. I have practically 3 jobs. I help my grandpa on the weekend. I clean up my building whenever it needs to be. Can be any day of the week, and I have my full-time 5-day-a-week job. So I use cheats mainly to save time. And as I said before, I play games for the story, not just not just to get white in the knuckle angry, right? And that's what I say. I say white in the knuckle angry because, like, I don't want to waste several hours just grinding levels and getting peanuts for experience. That's why probably the most useful code that I have is the 4x experience code for this game, and because I got to tell you, it would have taken me probably twice as long to finish the game, and because I only realized that I could buy an infinite number of attribute seeds, Paranta seeds or whatever they're called, from Ikimus or whatever his name is. I don't care. The alchemist guy. And yeah, no, there's quite a section of either video 28 or 27, I'm not sure, of me just maxing out the stats of 4 of my characters, Vice, Heike, Fina, and Gilder, and making them all 99999999999. So, and that made me real happy, I gotta tell you, because you know what? I love RPGs, I love expansive stories and lots to do, but I also hate games that overstay their welcome, and unfortunately this game overstayed its welcome rather quickly for me. Especially with searching for the secrets, for the discoveries. That was such a huge pain in the ass. I only got 32 of them, and I had to use other people's video playthroughs to help me find a lot of them. So, so that was really, really redundant. And I mean, you're searching for a needle in a haystack. You're pixel hunting in the sky, right? Skies of Arcadia is heavily based on exploring this vast open world of floating islands in an endless sky. There's no base ground except for like what's underneath water or what sorry, fly. Yeah, I don't even know if we were underwater at some point or whatever. We were looking for Fina's ship. I'm just bouncing around the game. This is why it's called a ramble. So but yeah, no. Uh it's you're pixel hunting in the sky to try and find these discoveries. They're invisible and they just pop out of nowhere. You're just flying around. They pop out of nowhere, whether they're in the sky or on the ground or what the fuck ever, you know. And you get very little clues as to where they are. You can go to this little sailors guild and purchase clues, but they're maybe a sentence long and they're all very vague. They say go to Sailor's Island and go west and then look for it, right? That means basically flying in essentially an endless. It's essentially it's a when you look at the expansiveness of it, it's a small world, but when as I said, you're looking for a needle in the haystack. It's essentially you're looking for a speck of dust in the universe. Um, the the inverse island. Oh god, that was a horrible, horrible, horrible fucking um, discovery to try and find. Like some of them are pretty easy to find, like the island at the end of the rainbow. I mean, it's right above where your ship's base is on Crescent Isle. Uh, but again, it's like, oh man, like that's what pisses me off about these games. It's like, dude, this is just busy work, right? And the only reason, as I said, I only got 32 of them. I only got the maximum amount that I needed to recruit all of the crew members, just for completeness' sake, because as I said, I obsess over these things. But my obsession goes to a limit, and I was not going to waste my time getting all 64 original Dreamcast discoveries. Yeah, so that was one of the more tedious aspects of the game. And again, the random battle encounters, ugh, they are so frequent, man. Like, I gotta tell you, I have my own problems with the game Pure Solar, but they had enormous farsight. They were so farsighted, and I mean this as a compliment. Maybe I'm not saying this like in hindsight or farsight. I'm not even sure of the term to use, but they planned for the future with this, and when they included an enemy encounter rate modifier, where you could have it as normal or more or less or nothing, depending on what you wanted to do in the specific time period of the game that you're playing. Uh, that is the time period in real life. So again, in Pure Solar, anybody who's played it will know what I'm talking about. If you wanted to gain levels just like that, you could set it to like 2x or 4x or 8x or 16x or whatever, and you couldn't go 2 steps without getting into an encounter. which is great because it cuts out a lot of time just wandering around a forest or a dungeon, because sometimes it could take 30 seconds, 45 seconds, even almost a minute before your random encounter rate just trips off for whatever reason. So it's great when you want to grind levels, but it's also great when, say, you've ground enough levels and you kind of just want to go through the dungeons or go through this area and explore it and find all the treasure, right? Because you can take that enemy encounter rate and you can put it down to 0. And I think that is so intelligent, that is so far-seeing and everything. Um, and I think that should have been a staple in games like this for years after and decades before, right? This game should have had an encounter rate modifier, because I can tell you, like, before I got the plans from Valua to allow my ship, the Delphinus, to fly high in the sky or into deep sky and everything, because not every ship can go too high or too low. There are no random encounters when you're too high or too low in the sky. So that was very, very good. That helped me out a lot, especially with finding those damn discoveries. Right, I only got those discoveries to recruit Domingo. Yeah. So, but again, I mean, the encounter rate, yeah, it just sucks. It's too often, and you should have the ability to modify it. There is a code out there that says no random encounters, and there is a code out there that says press down and start to save. Tried entering those in there, but they never worked. The game either wouldn't load or the game would load, and I tried the down up or down start or tried to see if they worked, and they didn't. So kind of weird. I was probably just getting taken for a ride anyways. So hang on a second. But yeah, so that's one of the more tedious aspects of the game, as I said before. Oh, and the battles. Oh my God. Everything is so grandiose in the battles. Everything is such a display. You have to outdo everything that came before you, man. Like, regular guys, like they would say Electri or Drillin or Sacrulan, or like, what do those words even mean, guys? Like, these spells or these crystals or these items are like Sacrulan or Drillin or Electres or something like that. Like, some of them are you can sort of infer from their name like kind of what they do, but it's like I looked at the vast majority of these spells and I thought, do you know what you're trying to say with these? Like, whatever happened to, like, holy lightning or fireball or something like that, right? Or bolt of energy or something, Like, how is Sacralin or Sacres, like, do you know what that is? That's a healing spell. Saccharin, that's a healing or an item or whatever. I don't know. Seriously, right? It is so confusing, honestly. It really, really is. Like, you just be playing the game, and like any bad guy can do this, right? And the thing is, like, the thing that gets me with these moves is that they're all such a display, Uh, whenever they would cast these spells, they'd be like Electres, and then, the whole world around them would go dark, and then orbs of energy, like they would be standing in like an endless black expanse of space, and then a whole bunch of weird pentagrammy symbols would generate themselves and glow on the dark continent of Pangea that they're now standing on, and would flash and glimmer and glow and explode and send beams of light up into the sky, and this, that, and the other thing, and boom, crash, bang, flashy, flashy. Every single move was like that, man. It's like, oh my God. And the moves near the end, like, Ramirez is the main bad guy. Like, he had one named like Silver Moon or something like that. Like, when you were fighting him, I'm just gonna click through some of my videos here. Like, when you were fighting him on Crescent Isle, like, he would have this battle. He would. Oh yeah, that's another thing. That's another fucking thing, right? a battle that you have to lose, right? That had me biting my nails, right? Because, you know, as you can see, I have an infinite health cheat going for my characters, right? So I don't know how far back ago I saved, right? So I don't know if I would have to stop playing, turn off the console, lose all my progress, turn the cheat off, or don't boot with the GameShark CDX, and then have to fight that battle all fucking over again, right? So that's a gigantic, gigantic fucking pain in the ass, right? So, and I don't know what it was, but it's like lunar moons or whatever, or uh, shit like that. I don't know. And it was just the most long and drawn out thing. And he'd say, "Where there is light, there is darkness." And he'd kind of walk through a bunch of little cementy looking liquid portals, and then he'd slice you. He'd kind of streak across the screen, slice you, 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 slice you. Good God, man. I get it. I get it. You can make a spectacle. You know, look at us. We have a graphics engine that allows us to do these wacky things. Okay. I get it, dude. Just do the move and let me get on with the fight. One good thing is that you can skip through the fighting animations of your own moves, but not through the moves of your enemy. And they should have allowed you to do that. You can press the start button, right? Because I swear to God, if I had to view everybody going, Pirate's Wrath or something like that. Like, oh my God, dude. It is such a waste of time. It just adds padding to the battle, right? That's my problem. I have no problem with grinding levels, but make it streamline it, right? I mean, I know it's a different graphics engine, it's a different perspective, it's 3D polygonal graphics and everything. They feel like they have to raise the bar, but yeah, here we are. Yeah, critical, this, that, and the other thing. Okay, let's see some of these Solanus. Like, what is Solanus? Like, what does that do? Seriously, what does that do? Okay, right? And we're fighting it's Ramirez, this Sylvite guy from the Silver Star. You know, I thought this game was made by Game Arts, honestly, because it's got a lot of similarities with the Lunar series, including one of its characters is named Dine. He's also an old mentor character, like Dine in Lunar, right? But no, it's made by Overworks. At least that's what I think. Yeah. So you know, it's cookie cutter. Everything is cookie cutter about this game, honestly. It had a neat premise, I would say. Again, the open world exploration of it is it's interesting for the time that it was made, but again, as I said, like with the discoveries and everything, with the encounter rate and your ship and everything, and just how the scenes with the ships, the battles with the ships, oh my god, they are so tedious. Everything is so long and drawn out. I mean, your ships just hover around in the sky. They zip this way, zip that way. You can't control your ship itself. Your ship just kind of flies around, and sometimes you fly so far away from the guy, or you fly below him, or you fly above him, or this, that, and the other thing. And then your fucking cannons miss him all the time, you know? It's like, I guess I could have used torpedoes if he was above or below me, but their torpedoes never hit me, right? So I decided not to use them because I thought it would be a waste. And everything, like, to use certain attacks, especially during ship battles and super moves in foot battles, hand-to-hand combat, you needed to have focus points. And again, I was just like, God damn, guys. Like, seriously, like, don't penalize me for trying to play the game, right? I mean, like, you have magic points, right? Like, why have focus points when you have, like, when you have magic points, right? Like, it just makes no sense, right? I'm just looking at this, and yeah, and look at that. He casts a big spell, and there's the endless black expanse, and everything's enveloped in this glowing, uh, weird symbolical thing, purple, this, that, and everywhere, and nothing happens, right? And I mean, it's like, guys, just streamline this, right? And whenever, like, drill nos, what is drill nos? What does that mean? What does that mean, honestly? like, again, like pentagrams, this, it looks like you essentially stand on top of a glowing ball of energy that's in the shape of a pentagram and a crop circle, right? And I mean, like, guys, like, seriously, just let me fight the battle, okay? I don't care. I don't fucking care. Like, you can't understand, like, my vitriol cannot come through the screen because it's a straightforward playthrough and I'm not narrating it as I go. But guys, you cannot fucking believe the amount of hatred I had for this game simply because, like, what is Wevlin? What is Wevlin? What is that? I don't even remember. Okay. Wevlin, it looks like a tornado spell. Wouldn't have gotten that out of me, right? Wevlin, is it like weaving or something? That's what I take from the word, right? And again, these fucking battles that you can't win. What a waste. Seriously, what a waste. Like, and again, it's not always obvious because the guy that I was reading the walkthrough of said that he could actually thought that he could beat this battle, but he couldn't, right? So that means that he could have wasted a lot of important healing items or just simply a lot of energy, right? Like, seriously. Oh, Eternum, like, I guess, that's sort of like, well, it says Eternum, right? And then everything turns into diamonds and stabs your character, right? To me, that looks more like an ice spell or something, or like an earth spell, not like a spell that instantly kills you or something. It's weird. It's really, really weird. uh, and as I said, the ship battles, like, there's no rhyme or reason to them. Like, you have little squares, some of them are green, some of them are yellow, some of them are red. From what I've read from the walkthroughs, they say when it's green, you have a better chance of hitting them with your attacks, but not always, man. I tried attacking on green with chance on it. That's these little C things, C logos on the green squares. And you know what, man? Sometimes I just miss all the time, right? And like, that's just, as I said, white in the knuckle. That is just aggravating, right? So, no, as I said, this game overstayed its welcome very, very early on. I thought, what, maybe like halfway through, I was thinking, like, guy, this game is 2 discs, seriously, right? Like, when is the end of the first disc coming, right? Like, and I think it wasn't even up until when I started vacation from my work that I actually beat the first disc, right? And I was thinking, good God, there's still another disc of this, but thankfully it didn't last long. Silver Eclipse. That's the name of it. Go to 1850 in video 26-3 and just look at this, right? He does this like 10 times in the fight, and it's so over dramatized, right? It's so dramatic, it's smash this, boom, crash, bang. He steps through the weird gray concrete portal, and it only does 945 damage to my character's 10,000 health. And I thought, my God, I have to lose this battle. This is going to be so fucking tedious. I wish I could just have my characters kill each other, you know? But that's the way it goes. So, Skies of Arcadia, open world, ship sailing game, console style RPG, uh, has a solid storyline, though, and the characters are likable. I'll tell you this, right? Like, I certainly do have emotional ties to the character. And again, as I said, I play games for the story, right? The story, the characters, they're very endearing. And I think it's a very interesting, well-written story, though I do have a few problems, especially with the end, with the main bad guy, Ramirez. How at the end, after he dies, after the 3-tier boss battle, after he says, I'll give my life, I'll kill myself to resurrect Xelnos, one of the Gigas or Gigas or whatever, I'm going to call him Gigas, the Gigas of the silver crystal, or maybe it's all 6 crystals combined, I don't know. And he says, I'm going to kill myself and do this. And turns out he didn't kill himself because he just comes out of his little fucking shell and he's connected to a weird gelatinous gray silvery bubblegum guy. And that's the last portion of the battle there, right? So my problem with Ramirez is that he to me should have been more of a force of nature than he was. He should have been more of a secretive, more conniving, more underhanded character who would exploit people for his own goals. I didn't like him as a sort of little grimier worm-tongue lackey for Galcian, who I think is a much stronger villain. Uh, yeah, I mean, having Ramirez, like, he seems redundant, honestly. The character really didn't need to exist, if you ask me, really. Uh, like, maybe he could have come down with Fina, who's also a Sylvite. She's the lady in the white dress. Um, and then maybe Galcian could have gotten the information from him and then killed him, right? Or left him for dead, and then maybe you find him, right? To me, Ramirez, the way he acts, it's not like his character is not developed enough to act that way, honestly. Like, he sees himself as this all-powerful Sylvite guy who has the power to take the crystal out of Fina's chest, for God's sakes. And he just says, "Oh yeah, I hate all of these filthy humans who are hateful and evil and fight amongst each other and Bleffelgar blah, that sort of thing." But hey, Galcian, he's a pretty cool guy, you know. He's like a fucking tyrannical despot, and he's my main dude, right? I mean, the guy seriously, Ramirez treats Galcian like he's his dad or something. And once Galcian dies after Beleza crashes her ship into his, uh, after one of the more long drawn out boss battles or ship battles with the boss. So I guess it's both. Uh, he says, "No, no, you killed him." Then I think, nope, we did not kill him. We absolutely did not kill him. That was Beleza who killed him. We had no chance of killing him. So that's entirely wrong, and nobody made that distinction in the game. So, and again, like, Fina was always saying, "Oh, you know, I grew up with him and he was such a cool guy and everything." But then I think, you know what? We never saw that Ramirez, right? Like, we never even had any cutscenes with Ramirez and her. Like, we never had anything to endear ourselves to Ramirez. So after the 3-tier boss battle and after you kill Ramirez, Vise comes up to Fina holding his little silver crystal. And I have no idea. I had no idea that little crystal was actually his life force. Or maybe I'm just misunderstanding it, but he says, Ramirez, and you know, I read his little journal and everything. Ramirez always wanted to sail the world and everything, so it'll be a nice send-off for him, for us to throw his life force overboard into deep sky where it just sits at the bottom of the primordial ocean for the rest of eternity. Yeah, great, yeah. But no, like, I was looking at that and I was thinking, Ramirez is evil. Like, he's not a tragic character. He's not a tragic antagonist. He is full on evil, right? Like, there's nothing redeeming about Ramirez. He didn't have a sudden revelation at the end of the game after you'd beaten him all those times. You know, he could have said, "My God, I've hated this world so much, and yet you people have shown your friendship and your trust and your courage and everything, and how you can rely on each other. You've changed my ignorant ways. Perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps I was always wrong." You know, he could have just belched out some shit like that, and then, you know what, that really would have it would have been, you know, run of the mill stuff, but it would have really kind of, you know, tied up the loose end, right? Because I mean, it's like he's sort of like, I don't want to break Goodwin's law, and I don't want to make the comparison, but he's like, Galcian is sort of like uh, Heinrich Himmler, and Ramirez is sort of like Hitler himself, right? I don't like using that analogy, but I will anyways, right? Because Heinrich Himmler, like Galcian, he's the actual orchestrator of this. He was the one who called down the rains of destruction and murdered several million people. And as I said, Ramirez is kind of the force of nature, which is what Hitler was. Very, very evil, very, very sick, very disgusting. Deserved to die. But at the end of the game, they're saying, it's like, hey, you know, he was actually a pretty cool guy, just misunderstood and everything, right? And I think, no, He knew exactly what he was doing the whole time, and he facilitated the deaths of millions of people, and he did so with wrath and hatred and pleasure. He is a bad guy, and they should not have treated him like he was misunderstood. So that was kind of a letdown at the end. Um, yeah, because as I said, I'm a big fan of redemption of non-corrupt evil, right? Beleza, I really like that. I really liked her redemption at the end. That was good. That was fine and everything, but no, not for Ramirez. You don't. He doesn't get that kind of respect from me, and I vote down the narrative of the story for that. So, but yeah, again, you know, it's not, as I said, it's not a terrible game. Honestly, it just wears on me. You know, I mean, it's a Japanese style console RPG. You know, it's got a few bells and whistles on it, but at its heart, it's grind, 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 level up, level up, level up, dungeon, dungeon, dungeon. And for God's sakes, it was getting really, really repetitive at points during the game because you'd figure out where the crystal is, go to the temple, beat a boss, find the jewel or whatever, and then the Valuan army would come and take it. They'd summon up the Gigas, and then you'd have to fight the Gigas, and then you'd get the jewel back, right? And that happened like 4 fucking times, honestly, man. Like, when Rachnum, the whale that Drachmazal was coming after, I was just like, okay, good, seriously, like, I don't have to fight another fucking boss to get the damn jewel, right? I was like, thank God, right? Now, as I said, the characters are very good, very endearing. You actually want to see them succeed, you know, they're not just a whole bunch of sullen, resentful, soulless jackasses, right? Um, and Drachma, I thought, was a very, very good addition to the ensemble. The story about him and his son, uh, you know, I thought I mildly applauded it for its quality and its substance, so that was good. Uh, but yeah, and you know what? I guess I would say like it's another complaint that I have with a lot of other games. Galcian and Ramirez, like while Galcian himself is a much stronger villain, I would say, than Ramirez is, they are not present enough in the story to have any lasting impression. Because again, the game took me 46 hours to complete, and Galcian is only shown in cutscenes for maybe several minutes, right? And you only meet him for a little while in the beginning of the game, and you don't really see any of him for the entire rest of the game until the very end, right? And the other side of the story with Queen Theodora and that sort of thing, and the mother of oh Christ, what was his face? Prince Enrique. Uh, yeah, it's like what was she even for there? I mean, she was even in fewer cutscenes, right? Like maybe even like 2 or 3 cutscenes total, and then she just dies after the Rains of Destruction come and crush Valua, right? Along with what was his name, Alfonso or something, that little piece of shit or something. To me, he should have played a much bigger role because he had a much bigger role in the early part of the game, and he unceremoniously dies as he's running away like a coward and getting crushed by falling debris. And I mean, you know, I don't think he's a cool guy, and that I wanted to see more of him. But again, it's like a lot of the characters are just throwaways in this game. It's really weird. Um, pardon me. But yeah, no. So the game in and of itself, again, not a bad game. I had some really good times playing it, especially when I was cheating. But you know, other than the characters are endearing, as I said. That it's just another, it's just blah. It's C average, right? Like, if I ever wrote home about it, it would be a postscript. Honestly, a postscript. Uh, it's nothing really that incredible, and from what I hear, the GameCube version only adds maybe 2 dozen more discoveries to it. Yay, Whoopee, right? And other than that, I think it actually dumbs down the Dreamcast version because people say that Pinta, this little fat character who would search for treasure with you, plays even less of a role. And at one point they said you could sell your ship, and I'm thinking, what? You can sell your ship? The Delphinus? Right? I mean, when could you sell your ship? Right? You can't sell the Little Jack. That's not your ship. You can't sell the Albatross. That's not your ship. That's your dad's ship. It's like, when could you sell the Delphinus, right? Because I have a video of this. I went straight through to the end of the credits and right back to the main menu, and I was looking for maybe like an epilogue or a game continue save file, but nothing came up. So I'm just thinking, like, what the hell's going on, right? Oh yeah, and fucking Drachma dies at the end too. Dies shortly after the battle, happy as a fisherman. Well, it's like, I was thinking that he could have had a few more years, right? But whatever. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Very, very convoluted game. Very uselessly complex battle system. The ship battles are so tedious. There's no real rhyme or reason. You can't control your ships. They just go this way, that way, and even when you're directly in front or along the side of your enemy and your cannons are pointed the right way at the right altitude, sometimes they just miss, and then you miss out on everything. Right, but, and the reason why I'm so crazy about saving in this game, how I do 2 saves on the first memory card and 4 saves on the other, is because every time I started entering in new codes, for some reason it would delete my save files and revert back to earlier save files. So I said, well, shit, I could enter in a code and then lose all my progress. So I definitely had to save my games on multiple memory cards. So that was a source of stress for me, definitely. Right? But, yeah, no. The game itself is, it's okay. It's okay. I don't necessarily regret it, but, yeah, it's just that. Well, I think I've yapped enough about it. I think I've covered every topic that I'd like to cover about it. Um, yeah, nice how your base gets destroyed after Ramirez comes around, and then you just rebuild it back to what it used to be. Redundant, as I said. Fuck. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say that's it before I go off on another tangent. So, that's Skies of Arcadia for me. That's the impression that it left on me. Uh, I don't know. I guess I'd give it maybe a 65, honestly. The story is the vast majority of that score, and the 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 other 35 of it is just has to be the repetitiveness, the boringness, the tediousness, and the fact that a lot of the there's no strong central villain in the game. Like Gaussian and Ramirez, they only come really into play at the very end. The all the generals that you have to fight, like not Giorgio, but DeLoco, that weird bubble-headed guy, and Beleza and Vigoro and Alfonso. Alfonso, fuck him. You have one battle with him in the beginning of the game, then he's gone. There's probably a guy I'm forgetting, but whatever. Yeah, no, they were they were better main adversaries than the main adversaries. Yeah, there just was not enough interaction between those two, Galcian and Ramirez, and the main characters. So that's it. I've said all I need to say. That's that's Skies of Arcadia on the fucking Dreamcast there, buds. That's my ramble on it. So I guess have a good one there, guys, and I'll see you next time when I see you next time. Goodbye, everybody. Skwatter out.